Hello everyone, today we will talk about transiting Venus. Venus passes through the sign of Taurus. The way Venus behaves in transit through the sign of Taurus depends on the position of Taurus in the individual's natal chart and the house order of Taurus. This transit can be more prominent in your life when you have other planets in Taurus, transit, or natal, heavy or light aspects to Earth. But the basics are as follows. Venus is by nature very sensual, satisfied and possessive, and since Taurus is a fixed sign, the transit of Venus in this sign will certainly not help in stabilizing and permanently solving all problems. The reason for this is that Venus in Taurus likes to be the beauty at the ball. Any activity that involves pleasure and profit is essential for this Earth sign. Therefore, transiting Venus here avoids dramatic situations and discussions, because she does not like to get her fingers dirty and be messy. That's why it's best to put more effort into your own property presentation, and that's just to get excited about your own reflection. The transit in itself does not have any power, but the presence of Venus will allow us to see our value through beauty and hedonism. It encourages us to slow down, live in the moment and find ways to enjoy the company of someone special. Someone who will pamper us with an open bottle of good wine and treat us to something delicious. In short, for those looking for love at this time, love is a luxury when Venus runs through Taurus. Love seeks security and we value what lasts. Loyalty now goes a long way, making relationships feel and seem stronger. Although Taurus can bring stubborn beliefs, but it mostly revolves around their values, and as long as there are values, they will not change their ideology. Although it was also a condition that they would adhere to what others think. Before you start looking for love, make sure that your search criteria include people who share your idea of what is important in life. Even on the first few dates, start conversations about money, family plans, housing preferences, and what your ideal relationship structure looks like. For people in partnership, this is an ideal time to bring love and money matters out into the open so that they can be resolved directly and easily. But try to get in a comfortable mood before you start the big conversation about home repairs and bills. For example, open chocolate and strawberries. As we have already stated, the transit of Venus in Taurus is nothing special. In fact, the whole situation, viewed only through the numbers, is nothing special, especially for people whose water is emphasized in the chart. But that's why the subsigns of Virgo, with such people, a well-founded, practical, but also totally hedonistic approach is suggested. Only material pleasures make their heart beat faster. They are also attracted by beauty, but unfortunately only the property beauty. But not everything is so gray. Taurus is a sign that is oriented towards security and seeks stability instead of heated passion. But don't think that Venus will spend this time in the house. A good restaurant, but not fast food, the appetite is strong, as is the world of the five senses, and of course clothes to impress. Planning and rearranging things that need to be revisited can be done during this transit, and self-care is a key task to take on now. Therefore, try to find a few minutes in the day in which you can devote yourself. Whether it's taking a relaxing bath, meditating, buying flowers or hiking in nature, the more comfort you give yourself, the more love you can give to others. Although you will spend a lot on clothes, makeup, jewelry, perfumes, cosmetics. The emphasis is on pleasing, and if interpersonal relationships are fulfilled, then you have a feeling of inner peace. What we will notice in people during this transit is shallowness. People tend to judge other people less on the content of their character and more on the quality of their clothes or beauty. Beauty is not everything, it is not the only thing. Even if they are loyal, it is because of the perception of loved ones as possessions. That's exactly the shadow side of it, excessive possessiveness and treating your partner as an object they own or want to own. So this period will help you recognize the superficial people around you and how to stay away from them. Be kind, sweet and sincere, it overcomes all other negative feelings. Communication is key and necessary to deepen the understanding and foundation between both parties. If you have found your person, there is only one thing you need to do during this transit. Touch her often. It's all about attachment. What starts as a shoulder rub will eventually turn into hours of sweet love.